want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then taste it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday, and you know what that means. We are live right now, not with the lightning flash update, but we are still live on this very cold Saturday. It recently snowed here in New Jersey. It is getting very cold outside. It seems as though winter is finally approaching. It is the first official day of winter, but it is hot as a motherfucker in here because, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. As, of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle, known to mankind, and this is the official rewind for Ring of Honor Final Battle, which, of course, streamed live on Honor Club last night from the Hammerstein Ballroom with the 0 hour starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I did not watch 0 hour. I'll probably go back and rewatch it a little bit later after the stream just to get my fill of the 0 hour. But we have a lot to talk about in terms of Ring of Honor, and I do have a little piece of news that we will talk about in just a little bit. The lingering cough has not gone away. The lingering cough has not gone away, unfortunately. I fucking hate it. I do have some cough drops here, so hopefully that should help me. That should help me just a little bit, and we should make it through the stream just fine. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't already done so, you already know the drill when it comes down to the social media links. You can follow me on social media. You can follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and on Instagram. You can also follow me on my personal Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. You can send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. You can like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description of this very stream. You can also add me on Rumble. We're live on Rumble right now, looking to build a nice solid fan base on Rumble for the holiday season. Also, you guys haven't already done so, you can donate to my Venmo. My Venmo is at DJ Storms. Meanwhile, my Cash App is the DJ Storms. You can check me out there. If you guys are looking for some merchandise, you can get your merchandise, whether it be the DJ Storms wristbands, the t-shirts, or the greatest piece of merch that you will ever fucking own. I'm talking about this, the DJ Storms Switchblade comb. This shit right here is fucking as elite as they come. This is as honorable as they come, considering we're reviewing Ring of Honor. This is as honorable as they come. If you want to get yourself a splash of honor, you want to get yourself a dash of greatness, you already know what to do. You can hit me up and buy one of these. That way you can be so good. You could be scrumptious tasty. You could be the most delicious snack in the IWC. And just like everybody's going to want a piece of the Stormsmeister, everyone is going to want a piece of you. Look at how fucking on point my pompadour is. Look at it. Look at it. Gotta love it. In addition to that, please make sure YouTube is showing that I'm offline. How the fuck am I offline? I'm not seeing it on my end. I'm not seeing it on my end at all. I don't give a fuck what YouTube says. Let me tell you something. When I'm online, I'm online. YouTube ain't gonna fucking stop me. I already got 12 people overall watching the stream right now. And I'm sure that it's going to increase considering that Saturdays are my good days. Very nice to see you, Hooligram. If you haven't already done so, people, please make sure that you share the stream out and like the stream, where you're watching it on Facebook, YouTube, X, or Rumble. Share the stream out and like it. Share it out on all platforms of social media. That way, you will be able to bring some more people in, and everyone's going to get their fill of DJ Shizzle Dizzle. You know why? Because I make people's lives better. It is a known fact that I do. I didn't make the rules. Yes, I did. In addition to that, please make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you better hit that motherfucking subscribe button, because we are on the road to 2,700 subs. In addition to that, when you hit that subscribe button, you better hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, you already know it is the absolute best motherfucking time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache as well. And this is the final stream, actually, before the holiday season officially, or at least starts for some people, because some people don't really start until the week of Christmas. I don't know fucking why. I've been trying to enjoy the holiday season all month, and it is indeed certainly the most wonderful time of the year. I will be streaming the day after Christmas, actually. I will be going live for the rundown for AEW World's End. We're going to preview and predict everything going down at World's End. I may do a rewind for World's End as well on Sunday, and I will hopefully get you guys a video probably on New Year's Eve, I would say. I'm going to do a little pre-recorded video on New Year's Eve, and I am going to do the top 10 best matches of 2024 for me, with some honorable mentions as well. Don't worry, I will be popping a cough drop in just a little bit. I just need to get through what we're going to get through here. We're also going to go over a couple of news and rumors before we get into Final Battle 2024. Again, I didn't watch 0 Hour. I'll watch it a little bit later. But overall, before we get into the news, rumors, and reports, Final Battle 2024 in the Hammerstein Ballroom. It had about 1,500 people in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and the Hammerstein Ballroom looked great. Hammerstein Ballroom looked fantastic. They actually moved the ring out just a little bit, so that way the outside area wasn't so crammed. It did look aesthetically pleasing. They actually modified it a bit. No longer tan balconies. It's now gray balconies. Not really sure why they modified it there, but I don't own the Manhattan Center. The crowd, for the most part, was very good. Long show. Bit of a long show. Couple things that really did not need to be on the show. And the last two matches had the wrong outcomes. No debate about it. No debate. The last two matches absolutely had the wrong fucking outcomes. But we did get a lot of great wrestling on the show. We did get a couple of new stars being made, specifically in Lee Moriarty and Commander. Those two very much shined on this show. QT Marshall and Jay Lethal. QT Marshall and Jay Lethal delivered what was probably the sleeper match of the night. They had the crowd eating out of the palm of their hands. Matt Cardona loses to Chris Jericho in the most lame way possible. And the women main event Final Battle for the second year in a row. And we still do not have a definitive individual that is going to beat Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, as she continues to be shafted from AEW television as a whole. All that and so much more. Let's talk about few news, rumors, and reports. I got two that I specifically want to talk about. Now, this one's pretty obvious. I think that most of us already got the gist of it from this past Wednesday on Dynamite, because we had a little sit-down interview with FTR. They're promoting the Fight for the Fallen event that is going down in Asheville, North Carolina. That's going to be on January 1st, and it will be simulcast on TBS and on HBO Max. They challenged the Death Riders to a 6-man tag team match, and they said that they weren't going to be alone. I think it's pretty obvious who is going to show up and who is going to be the partner of FTR. According to Fightful Select, Adam Copeland is expected to return to AEW imminently. He has been cleared to return to action for a few weeks at this point. And based on the FTR promo, it is quite obvious who is going to be their partner. And to be quite honest with you, I do not have a single issue with this. Matter of fact, I sorely miss Adam Copeland. He was actually on a great fucking run in 2024 before he unfortunately got injured. He was killing it. Especially with the feud with Christian and the feud with the TNT Championship. He was killing it. He was doing some really good shit as the TNT Champion. His run in AEW was actually one of the best periods of his career before he got injured since he returned from injury. Matter of fact, what he was doing in AEW was actually superseding what he did in his last run in WWE before he inevitably left. But Adam Copeland, yes, it's blatantly obvious. However, this could set up a somewhat intriguing match, potentially going into Grand Slam. Now, I talked about Kenny Omega coming back at World's End. That is being talked about. And if I'm booking it, I am starting to build towards Okada versus Omega, whether it be for the Continental Championship or not for the Continental Championship. Omega Okada Grand Slam. If you want to go into Australia, if they want to go into Australia, you're going to want to load up that Grand Slam card. Omega Okada AEW Grand Slam in Australia on February 15th. That would be step one. Step two, I think you already know what step two is. FTR challenged the Death Riders to a 6-man tag team match on January 1st. What's going down? It's blatantly obvious that FTR's partner is going to be none other than Adam Copeland. Now, many people don't have an issue with this. Neither do I. This is a great move specifically for one reason. You want to load up Grand Slam. I already talked about Omega Okada going up against each other at Grand Slam in Australia on February 15th. What do you want to do for the World Championship? Moxley's retaining. Moxley's retaining at World's End. That is quite obvious. I don't think anyone is expecting Orange Cassidy, Jay White, or Hangman to win. Moxley's retaining at World's End. Where do you go? Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland shows up. Adam Copeland helps FTR beat the Death Riders, and we build towards Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley at Grand Slam. That will be your World Championship match. Now, I'm not sure where else they go. I'm not sure what else they have lined up for Jon Moxley. If anything, it's quite obvious that Darby Allin is going to be the guy to take the title off of Jon Moxley with how they are laying things out and how they are building things up. It's just a fucking drag because people are just burnt out of Jon Moxley. There was no reason for Jon Moxley to come back 2 months after he took that break, after he lost the IWGP Heavyweight title to Tatsuya Naito back at Forbidden Door. There was no reason for Jon Moxley to come back this early. No reason. If anything, Jon Moxley, I've said it once, I'll say it again, Jon Moxley shouldn't even be the AEW World Champion right now. He shouldn't. I don't give a fuck what you want to say. He shouldn't. What should have happened is Swerve, if Swerve was going to fight Bryan Danielson at All In anyway, Swerve should have beaten Bryan Danielson And then Hangman should have won the Casino Gauntlet for a shot at the AEW World Championship, not Christian Cage. Hangman should have won. He should have cashed in on Swerve Strickland at All Out. Swerve still would have won, but we would have inevitably gotten the Lights Out Steel Cage match 1 month later at Wrestle Dream in Swerve's hometown of Tacoma. Hangman would have won the world championship then, became the biggest heel in the industry. You still could have did the little mini feud with Jay White. You still could have did Swerve and Bobby Lashley at Full Gear. And who the fuck knows? John Moxley still could have came back. You could have did John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson in the Tacoma Dome without the world championship. You still could have did virtually everything that you did. You just would have been moving some things around. You would have put the world championship on Hangman Page. Then you could have moved the steel cage match to the Tacoma Dome. You could have did Moxley and Bryan without the championship. And then you could have followed through with what you had going into Full Gear and World's End. You still could have did the Fatal 4-Way match. You still could have did the Fatal 4-Way match with Hangman, Jay White, Orange Cassidy, and John Moxley. But Hangman would have been the world champion. But no, we had to give it to Bryan Danielson just because we have to have a big moment for Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson didn't need to win the AEW World Championship. He didn't. Moving on. WrestleMania 41, taking place in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. That is going down on April 19th and 20th. There is currently a big match planned for John Cena. Now, I kind of expected this match to take place, but does it need to be at WrestleMania? No. What is it, you ask? Well, according to Viper reports, John Cena versus Logan Paul has been discussed for WrestleMania 41 in April of 2025. Listen, I have no problem with seeing a Logan Paul-John Cena match, but why does it need to be at WrestleMania? You have a picture-perfect shoe-in match for John Cena at WrestleMania. And it's against the one they call the Ring General Gunther. However the fuck you want to pronounce it. Gunther, Gunther, whatever the fuck you want to say. Gunther, World Heavyweight Champion, by the way, he is getting himself back on track after that terrible debacle that we saw at Crown Jewel where Cody Rhodes beat him for no fucking reason and won the Crown Jewel Championship. Why? I don't fucking know. The Crown Jewel Championship is now a consistent thing. Triple H has essentially taken the Raw versus SmackDown bit that Vince McMahon had for Survivor Series for God knows how many fucking years, and boom, he put it on Crown Jewel. I mean, can you tell us without telling us that the Crown Jewel shows and these fucking Saudi shows don't mean shit? At least try to put some fucking effort into them. Seriously, at least fucking try. But John Cena and Gunther would be a perfect match for WrestleMania. You really want to make the most of John Cena's last match at WrestleMania? I mean, why not have John Cena win the Chamber? Why not have John Cena win the Chamber, and John Cena can go to fight Gunther at WrestleMania, and John Cena puts over Gunther, and Gunther's championship reign is enhanced. It seems as though Gunther, at this stage of the game, Gunther is doing his thing. He got himself back on track, especially with the match against Damian Priest at Survivor Series, and then the match against Finn Balor and Damian Priest at Saturday night's main event, which was very good. Now, he's probably going to have Rollins lined up for him. He's probably going to have Punk lined up for him. He's probably going to have other individuals, whoever else they want to line up for him. Maybe another match with Sheamus. Who knows? But WrestleMania, you want a big match for Gunther at WrestleMania. Why not give him John Cena? Logan Paul is currently being discussed right now, according to Viper reports. Not sure how credible they are, but regardless, Logan Paul is being discussed right now to potentially fight John Cena at WrestleMania. I have no problem with the match taking place, but why does it need to be at WrestleMania? Is that really the best use of John Cena on his last WrestleMania? If anything, I've pitched it once, I'm going to pitch it again. John Cena should be Gunther's opponent at WrestleMania. Cena wins the chamber. Cena goes and fights Gunther. Gunther beats John Cena and enhances Gunther's championship reign. John Cena does not need to fight Logan Paul at WrestleMania. If you want to do John Cena versus Logan Paul, do it at another fucking event. Do it at one of the fucking international shows. Do it at one of the Saudi shows. It doesn't need to be at WrestleMania. Gunther and Cena is your WrestleMania main event for night one, not Logan Paul. Those are the two news, rumors, and reports pieces that I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys are having a fun time so far. We are going to talk about Ring of Honor Final Battle. We're going to go over everything that happened on the main show, and we will see what is going into the future of Ring of Honor. I don't fucking know, and based on what I saw, it doesn't seem like Tony Khan has any plans to change the direction of Ring of Honor, whether or not it goes to True TV. Let me pop one of these motherfuckers over here. The main show kicked off with Atlantis Jr., former Ring of Honor World Television Champion Atlantis Jr. He took on Mansoor of the Maximum Male Models. This was not a bad match. This was not a bad match at all. Mansoor is a very good wrestler. Atlantis Jr. is a very good wrestler. This was a decent little 12-minute showcase for both of them. The crowd actually came alive a little bit towards the end. But if we're going to be quite honest here, this was nothing more than a means of just getting some extra bodies on the show. See, this is the problem that I have with what Tony Khan does. When Tony Khan does his pay-per-views, right, 99% of the time, all the matches on the card, they belong on the card. But every once in a while, you get a match that doesn't really need to be there, and it's a match to just get people showcased on a pay-per-view in front of a shit ton of people, left, right, and center, like Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream, we had Hologram and the Beast Mortos get a spot on the main show. Now, granted, Beast Mortos is fucking great. Beast Mortos has been getting himself over. Hologram is a fucking beast. Where's his fucking title shot, Tony Khan? He's fucking 19-0. I love those guys. But do they need a spot on the show? No. This is what you have 0 hour for. This is what I don't understand. You know what Tony Khan needs to do? Tony Khan needs to start making 0 hour feel important. If you are going to do a match like that, why don't you just put those two guys on the 0 hour and have them go 15 minutes? What about people like fucking Atlantis Jr. and Mansoor? Why do we need to see Harley Cameron versus Nanako or whatever the fuck her name was, some Japanese chick from Stardom? Why do we need meaningless matches like that? Well, why do we not have matches that actually have substance and actually determine whether or not someone moves up the ladder? This is why I fucking hate the fact that they got rid of the rankings, because you can't keep track of everything. I don't understand why they even contemplated getting rid of the rankings. That shit right there has been one of the most harmful things to AEW that I think I've seen. They've taken away the rankings, and once they took away the rankings, they got more and more and more unstructured and disorganized. Same thing with Ring of Honor. Same thing with Ring of Honor. Match did not need to be on the show. Was it a bad match? No, it wasn't a bad match. It was a decent little showcase for both of them. But they didn't need to go 12 minutes at the start of the show. So Atlantis Jr., he actually brought out some decent moves right here. We had Mansoor delivering a Death Valley driver into the buckle. Nice moonsault by Mansoor as well. We had a frog splash, but Mansoor got the knees up. Atlantis Jr. with an elevated cutter. Mansoor got his foot on the ropes. Atlantis Jr. then took out Mason Madden, and out of nowhere, Danhausen returned. I know my friend Ryan from work is smiling from ear to ear. Danhausen returned. He punched Mason Madden right in the nuts. We had Atlantis Jr. delivering a tope con hero onto both Madden and Mansoor. Frog splash, and Atlantis Jr. wins. Decent little match right here. But again, like I said, this was just a means of getting some extra bodies on the show. Did not need to happen. If you wanted to put this match on the show, this match should have been one of maybe 2 matches on the 0 hour. And then the show would have ended an hour earlier instead of ending closer to midnight. Yes, I know. Ring of Honor needs to be separate from AEW. I've said this once, I'll say it again. They need to have separate rosters, separate ranking systems, and we need Tony Khan. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm going to continue to fucking say it. Tony Khan does way too much, which is why there are a lot of things that lack substance. Tony Khan does way too much, and when you do way too much, you can't spread your energy all throughout everything that you're overseeing and have everything come off as great. You can't have everything come off as must-see when you're not giving your full, undivided energy to said thing. That's why AEW has been lacking substance. That's why Ring of Honor lacks substance. He needs to delegate responsibilities to other people. He needs to delegate He needs to put people in charge of certain shows. If Tony Khan wants to just run Dynamite, have him run Dynamite. He needs to put someone in charge of Collision. He needs to put someone in charge of Ring of Honor. And then they all meet. And they collaborate and make sure everything is connected. Moving on. Katsuyori Shibata. He took on Tommy Billington. Now, this was another one. Same thing as the first match. It seems as though they got the 2 matches that no one really cared about out of the way. Katsuyori Shibata, he took on Tommy Billington, Dynamite Kid. This was another decent match, but not needed on the show. You could have easily put this one on the 0 hour too. These 2 matches should have been on 0 hour, and these 2 matches should have been the only 2 matches on the 0 hour. Then things would have flowed a lot better on the main show. Now, the main show flowed fairly okay. That much I will say. But Tommy Billington, he came in with a nice drop kick and a clothesline. Tommy Billington with a missile drop kick and a springboard DDT on the apron. Tommy Billington with a very nice diving headbutt. And by the way, he got all of this fucking headbutt. If anyone didn't see the diving headbutt that Tommy Billington did, he got it on the fucking money with Shibata. I would not want to deliver or take a diving headbutt. I don't give a fuck how much anyone pays me. So afterwards, Shibata then locked in a sleeper. He locked in the legs around Billington, and Billington ended up tapping out. Shibata beats Billington. Where does Shibata go from here? I don't know. Based on everything that happened, I'm guessing that they are going to have Shibata potentially go after the Pure Championship again, and maybe they enhance Lee Moriarty more so than they already have. But those were the first 2 matches on the show. Didn't really do much of anything, and I'm sitting there like, you know, the matches were fine, but we need some more substance. We need some more energy for the show. We need some matches that actually make us proud to be wrestling fans. And then we go into QT Marshall versus Jay Lethal. I actually complained about this shit. I complained about this shit on the rundown. And it's crazy because when I complain about something, most of the time, when I actually see what the thing that I'm complaining about is, it ends up being one of the better things on the show. It's very, it's very weird how the universe works out. Really is. So, Jay Lethal came out with his Black Machismo gimmick. For those of you that don't know what that is, Jay Lethal basically came out as Macho Man Randy Savage. He's Macho Man Randy Lethal or Macho Man Jay Savage, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Black Machismo Jay Lethal. And the crowd popped big. Now they had Karen Jarrett. They had Karen Jarrett come out dressed as Sensational Sherry, and Sanjay Dutt was there as well. So Lethal came back with some chops. We had a back suplex neck breaker for a 2. Lethal with the figure 4. Sanjay Dutt came in, and he locked in a figure 4 on Aaron Solo. QT Marshall inevitably got out and hit Sanjay Dutt with a cutter. We had a lethal combination. Out comes Jeff Jarrett. He went right after Aaron Solo, and the crowd popped for Jeff Jarrett bashing the guitar over Aaron Solo's head. Jay Lethal with the Hail to the King elbow. 1, 2, QT Marshall kicked out. QT Marshall locked in the crossroads position. He delivered a crossroads on Jay Lethal. 1, 2, Jay Lethal kicked out. Lethal with a tornado kick. We had a pop-up punch by Marshall, so they're trading blows back and forth. Lethal with a cutter. Lethal went for the lethal injection, and Marshall dodged it. Marshall delivered a lethal injection, or the Marshall injection, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that right there got a 2 count on Jay Lethal. Crowd popped for Jay Lethal kicking out. Jay Lethal then with a lethal injection, and then a second lethal injection. 1, 2, 3, and Jay Lethal wins a very good match with a very hot crowd that was eating out of the palms of Jay Lethal and QT Marshall's hands. And listen, we can give QT Marshall all the shit that we want. We could say that he's meaningless. We could say that he's a jobber. We can go on and complain about him left, right, and center. But in the end, listen, QT Marshall, he's a very good wrestler. He's a very good wrestler, and I'm guessing when it comes down to it, he may be a jobber at the end of the day, but I think that we should start appreciating what QT Marshall can do. We should start appreciating that more because in the end, QT Marshall, whenever they need him, he goes in there and he delivers a very good match. He gives it his all. He doesn't half-ass anything. He goes in there and he fucking wrestles his ass off every single time. He did it against Big Boom AJ, and he did it here against Jay Lethal. That right there is something that a lot more people should appreciate. That is something that a lot more people should appreciate, and I am very, 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 very happy that this match actually turned out to be a lot better than expected. I thought this was going to be a complete fucking waste of time, but in the end, this match ended up being better than what Jericho and Cardona did later on in the night. I didn't even know how the fuck that was possible, but it was. Here we are. Jay Lethal, as Black Machismo, beats QT Marshall in what was a very good match with a very hot crowd. Hope you guys are having a fun time. We are approaching 35 minutes. We have a couple more matches to go over. If you guys haven't already done so, please make sure that you hit that like button, share the stream out, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, get your super chats in, get your super stickers in, and get your super thanks in. And if you haven't become a member of the channel yet, please become a member of the channel. It only costs $2.99. It does not cost that much. please show me some support in that area. And of course, get your DJ Storms merch if you haven't gotten your DJ Storms merch yet. Let's go to the women's division. Red Velvet. Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch. Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch. This was for the Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship. This was solid. It was a solid match. Little bit of a bad placement considering that the crowd was very hot for Black Machismo, Jay Lethal. But we ended up getting a solid women's match right here with a rather confusing ending. I'm not really sure where they're going from here, but it seems as though Red Velvet is taking upon more of a heelish character, if you will. Red Velvet is going to be more of a heel going forward here against Layla Hirsch. I'm not sure if this is going to result in another match with Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch. We will have to keep our eyes on that. But regardless, Red Velvet, she is treading in the heelish directions as she cheated to win here against Layla Hirsch. So things were very evenly matched here. We had a nice side suplex by Layla Hirsch. Red Velvet, she popped right up and delivered a spear on Hirsch. That got a 2 count. We had an avalanche German suplex by Layla Hirsch. And then another one, a standard one, that got a 2 count on Red Velvet. Layla Hirsch with the power bomb, a very nice power bomb, and then she delivered a triple jump moonsault out of the corner. Triple jump moonsault out of the corner, and she landed it very nicely. I'm guessing Sabu was watching somewhere smiling because Sabu, he wrestled in the Hammerstein Ballroom before. So triple jump moonsault out of the corner. Hirsch then targeted the shoulder of Red Velvet. Back and forth roll-ups we go. We had the armbar locked in, but Velvet was able to power out of it. Velvet hit the spin kick, but Hirsch grabbed the bottom rope. We had the big right hand by Red Velvet, lawn dart by Hirsch, tornado kick by Velvet. Hirsch kicked out. Velvet then decided to cheat. Red Velvet got a turnbuckle rod. She threw it in the ring, distracted the referee, and then she brought out a wrench. She brought out a regular wrench. I'm not sure if it was a standard wrench or a monkey wrench, but she brought out a silver wrench, and she hit Red Velvet, or she hit Layla Hirsch, excuse me. Red Velvet hit Layla Hirsch right in the head with the silver wrench. 1, 2, 3, and Red Velvet retains the Women's World Television Championship. Again, the match was solid, just bad placement following the Jay Lethal QT Marshall match. But Red Velvet retains. I expected her to retain. However, I'm not really sure where they're going with her. It's probably just because I haven't been watching Ring of Honor consistently. I've been focusing on more important things, actually. I've been focusing on my job, been focusing on getting everything lined up for my next show, been focusing on the holiday season, been trying to focus a little bit more on family as well. So I didn't have an issue specifically with Red Velvet retaining. I just don't really know where they're going with Red Velvet going forward, just because of the fact that back when I saw her last, she was fighting Billy Starks. Billy Starks was the heel, and Red Velvet was the babyface. That's what I really don't understand there. But regardless, a solid women's match, and Red Velvet retains the Women's World Television Championship. And to answer your question, James Punaseca, the Women's World Television Championship is the secondary women's championship in Ring of Honor. You got the Women's World title and the Women's World Television title. Lee Moriarty He came out and he was going to issue an open challenge for his Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Now, I didn't really know what to expect here. I thought that we were potentially going to see Homicide. I thought that we were potentially going to see something along the lines of maybe an ECW legend, considering it's the Hammerstein Ballroom, and we already know the history that the Hammerstein Ballroom has with ECW. This I didn't expect. The Pure Championship Open Challenge was answered by Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness, he got one of the biggest pops of the night, Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness then took the mic and he said that he wanted the old Pure Wrestling rules. He talked about how he wanted the 3 rope breaks, but if you hit someone in the face with a closed fist, then you are penalized a rope break. Taylor said, listen, he's not doing this because if he does this, they're going to have to arrest my guy for elder abuse, said Shane Taylor. Nigel said, just because you got hair on your mouth is no excuse for talking like a pussy. Nigel then called Taylor Lee Moriarty's asshole. Lee then said, you know what? No. I want this challenge. And we got the old school Pure Wrestling rules. And if you were to tell me that this was your favorite match of the night, I would not look at you weird because this was a great fucking technical fight. This was a great fucking match. Nigel brought Lee Moriarty to undoubtedly the best match of his life. And that right there, that is something to appreciate. That is something to be respected. So, Nigel and Lee Moriarty, Ring of Honor Pure Championship. So, Nigel faked out Lee Moriarty and he made Lee Moriarty use the rope break. He was playing a little bit of cat and mouse. Nigel, he used the rope break and Lee Moriarty then accidentally booted Shane Taylor in the face. Lee Moriarty just beat the count into the ring. Nigel then with the mule kick. Moriarty came out of nowhere with a huge uppercut and a nice belly-to-belly. In the beginning portions, it was actually Nigel that was out-wrestling Lee Moriarty. So, Nigel, then with the Tower of London, 1-2, Lee kicked out. We had the Border City stretch. Nigel gets to the ropes. Border City stretch again, and Nigel used his last rope break. Lee Moriarty had 1 rope break left. He tried to use the ropes for a leverage pin, but the second referee caught him. Nigel with the rebound lariat. Lee Moriarty kicked out. Another big lariat. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Nigel with the Tower of London again. I thought that Lee Moriarty was going to lose right here, but Lee Moriarty got his foot on the ropes. Great false finish here. Both men traded uppercuts back and forth we go. Lee Moriarty with a rebound lariat. He did the Nigel on Nigel. Nigel kicked out. Border City stretch. Nigel reversed into a tight cover. Lee Moriarty with the leaping flatliner, but Nigel kicked out. Border City stretch one more time. Lee Moriarty used the ropes for leverage. He put his feet on the ropes for leverage because he was allowed to do so. And Nigel ended up tapping out to Lee Moriarty in what was a great technical fight and probably the best match and the biggest win of Lee Moriarty's career thus far. And this right here, this is great for several reasons. Lee Moriarty, he is one hell of a professional wrestler, and I'm not sure where he's going to go after he loses that championship, but Lee Moriarty has got so much potential and so much upside. Nigel McGuinness, being the man that he is, Nigel McGuinness, he's almost like another version of Bryan Danielson. He doesn't care if he wins, doesn't care if he loses. He just wants to go out there and start wrestling again. He wants to go out there and start wrestling again. And you know what? He brought his fucking A game against Lee Moriarty at Final Battle. And above all else, Nigel McGuinness is that good. Even after so long away from the ring, Nigel McGuinness still has it. And the fact that he went in there casually, put on a 15-minute technical banger with Lee Moriarty and gave him the win via submission, that right there goes to show you how good Nigel is. And Lee Moriarty getting the biggest win of his career, that's going to elevate him up the ladder. No matter what you think of the Ring of Honor brand, no matter what you think of the Pure Championship or the Pure Rules, this was easily the biggest win of Lee Moriarty's career. And that is to be respected. Now, from there, I didn't think that anyone was going to end up topping the Pure Wrestling Rules match. But the next couple of matches definitely brought the show up from like a decent show to a great show. And then it was brought back down just a little bit because of the Jericho-Cardona match. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. The Sons of Texas. This being Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes. The Sons of Texas, they took on Vincent and Dutch, known as the Righteous. This was a Texas bull rope match for the World Tag Team titles of Ring of Honor. For those of you that don't know what a Texas bull rope match is, well, it's quite simple. It's similar to a dog collar match. You are tethered to your opponent. You have one Texas bull rope tethering Sammy Guevara and Vincent together, and then Dustin Rhodes is tethered to Dutch. So it was a double Texas bull rope match. So Sammy, right out of the gate with a tope con hero onto the Righteous. Dutch, being the crazy motherfucker that he is. By the way, Dutch is 300 pounds. 300 pounds Dutch. And he does a tope con hero over the ropes. And he lands on his fucking feet. Lands on his feet. So Dustin Rhodes with a snap power slam on Vincent. They started using the bull rope. We had double shattered dreams. Flatliner onto the bell by Vincent. Dustin Rhodes then got a chair, and he was wailing on Dutch. So they were getting crazy pretty fast and pretty early here. Dutch slammed. Dutch slammed Dustin Rhodes onto the ramp, and then Dutch brought out a barbed wire table. Table with barbed wire on it. Dutch tried to superplex Dustin Rhodes off of the top rope to the floor through the table. Dustin Rhodes ended up punching Dutch off, and Dutch went flying through the air through the barbed wire table. So we get the barbed wire table spot. We had a low blow by Vincent on Dustin, an orange sunshine, which is a running bulldog off of the corner by Dutch. Orange sunshine on the floor on Sammy Guevara. Vincent, then he got some scissors, and this was all legal, by the way. He got some scissors, and he cut the bull rope. He cut the bull rope so that way he wasn't tied to Sammy Guevara anymore. Vincent used the bull rope that Dusty Rhodes apparently gave to Dutch. Dustin was choked out with the bull rope. He was choked out with the bull rope, and then Sammy Guevara ended up saving Dustin from completely passing out. He took out Vincent. We had a cutter on the floor. Sammy Guevara then got another table and a ladder. Sammy Guevara went up top. He went to deliver a swanton bomb, but Vincent moved, and Guevara put himself through the table. So Guevara, it looked like he also hit his head on the ladder as well. So Guevara was effectively taken out for the time being. Dustin was then hit with the cowbell. He was hit with the cowbell. Vincent with the orange sunshine. Sammy Guevara saved the match. We had a cutter on Dutch. Sammy then took out Vincent. Dustin Rhodes with a Canadian destroyer on Dutch. Sammy Guevara with the GTH. GTH on Vincent. Dustin Rhodes then took Dusty Rhodes' cowbell and bashed Dutch in the face with it. 1, 2, 3, and the Sons of Texas retained the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles in what was a very good brawl for what it was. And I expected them to retain. Dustin Rhodes seems like he's enjoying this one last ride that he's on. And Sammy Guevara, listen, Sammy Guevara's a champion. He's working with Dustin Rhodes. I'm sure that Sammy Guevara is just happy to be doing what he's doing right now. He's just happy to be doing what he's doing. I would like to see him on AEW TV sooner rather than later, but we will see. Now then, match of the night right here. The survival of the fittest match. This is a 6-man match. A survival of the fittest match. This is Commander, Willie Mack, Mark Davis, A.R. Fox, Blake Christian, and Brian Cage. Survival of the fittest match for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Now, I was skeptical about this match. I was mainly skeptical about this match for one specific reason, and it was because of the fact that the last Survival of the Fittest match that we saw back at Death Before Dishonor, it was very, very rushed. It was very disorganized. It didn't come off interesting. It just didn't come off right. It was just, whatever. It was just there. It was just there. That's pretty much it. And it wasn't exciting at all. It honestly felt like, we're just doing that shit to get everyone on the card. It just wasn't intriguing. But then, we get this match, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I really hope the crowd is actually decent for this. I hope that they actually plan this match out correctly. And lo and behold, this match ended up being the best match on the fucking show. At least in my eyes. This match was fucking fantastic. In every sense of the word. Now, the outcome could be debated. The outcome of this match can be debated. It's like I'm torn on it. I'm torn on the outcome. I'm like 50-50 on the fucking outcome. I'm 50-50 on it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. A.R. Fox. He was diving on everyone. We had a twisting plancha by Commander. Blake Christian, he was booed heavily here. I'm not really sure what happened with Blake Christian or why he's supposedly a heel now. But I guess that was probably explained in GCW, but I don't fucking watch GCW. So, Brian Cage, he caught Blake Christian. He delivered a single leg dropkick on Davis. Double German suplex. So, Brian Cage, he was throwing everyone around. Willie Mack, he was throwing out stunners to everyone. Stunners all around. Stunner to Commander. Stunner to Mark Davis. Stunner to Blake Christian. Stunner, stunner, stunner. And they were really, really heavily into Willie Mack. All of a sudden, Brian Cage comes in out of nowhere. Discus lariat on Willie Mack. He eliminates Willie Mack. So Willie Mack is effectively taken out. A.R. Fox, he took over and he delivers an inverted cannonball onto the pile on the floor. Spanish fly and a 450 splash on Commander. Commander was able to kick out. All of a sudden, Brian Cage, he catches A.R. Fox. They're on the middle rope, and Brian Cage delivers an avalanche power bomb. An avalanche power bomb on Commander. 1, 2, 3. Or excuse me, on A.R. Fox. Avalanche powerbomb on A.R. Fox. 1, 2, 3. A.R. Fox is gone. Then Brian Cage just starts delivering F5s on everyone. F5 on Commander. F5 on Blake Christian. He goes for the F5 on Mark Davis. All of a sudden, Mark Davis counters, delivers a big lariat. Mark Davis actually looked very good here. Mark Davis delivers a pile driver, spikes Brian Cage on his head, spikes him on his head to a point where Brian Cage is like stiff, upside down. He covers Brian Cage and pins Brian Cage clean. 1, 2, 3. And I'm here thinking, holy shit, you know what? They're investing in Kyle Fletcher. Are they going to give it to Mark Davis here? Are they going to invest in Mark Davis and try and build up Mark Davis the same way that they built up Kyle Fletcher last year? Now, obviously, that didn't happen. Why didn't it happen? Quite simple, because Blake Christian came up from behind Mark Davis, hit him with a low blow, rolled him up, and eliminated him. We were down to Blake Christian and Commander. So, at this point, Alex Abrahantes, he's trying to get everyone hyped up. He's hyping everyone up for Commander. And Commander, he was in the same spot last year against Kyle Fletcher, and he lost. So, crowd was booing Christian very, very imminently. We had a Spanish fly by Christian for a 2. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Commander, with an avalanche, poison Rana, big tightrope walk plancha. Commander gets crotched on the top rope. Blake Christian with a curb stomp. I thought Blake Christian was going to win it right there. We had 1. We had 2. Commander kicked out. So Commander, now back in control, delivers a springboard Canadian Destroyer, a 619 in tribute to Rey Mysterio, shooting star press, and Commander wins it. 1, 2, 3, and Commander is the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion in what was a fantastic fucking match. Probably the best match on the entire show from start to finish. Now, I love Commander. I do. Commander's very, very good. He's probably one of the most underrated luchadors that we have right now. I think a lot of people don't appreciate what Commander can really do. Did he need a spot in the Continental Classic? No, he didn't need to be there. You could have picked someone else. He didn't need to be there. But, I think Commander is very underrated and very underappreciated. Great moment for Commander. However, on the flip side, what was the point of giving it to Brian Cage if you were barely going to have him hold it for 2 months? Brian Cage realistically should have been built up to be a monster, and then you could have built up someone else later on to take the title off of him, probably some point in the spring. Brian Cage deserved a legitimate reign with the championship. He didn't get that. He didn't get that at all. And that right there really pisses me off. Unless they're going to have Brian Cage strictly be on AEW TV, maybe we're going to see Lance Archer and Brian Cage go after the tag team titles in Private Party. Maybe. I don't know. That's always a potential right there. But Commander should not have gotten his moment at the expense of Brian Cage. Now then, on the positive side, I will say this. Commander has been with AEW for almost 2 years now. He's never bitched. He's never moaned. He's never complained. He has never thrown a fit. He's never gone on social media and complained about anything. Never. Commander has done everything that was asked of him. He's gone out there and he's jobbed out to literally everyone under the sun. He's done everything that Tony Khan told him to do, and he's probably going to go 0 for 5 in the Continental Classic. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I see a guy like that, who doesn't bitch, doesn't moan, doesn't complain, does what he's told, and he doesn't even expect anything in return, and now, after 2 years, he's finally given something to sink his teeth into. They threw him a bone, if you will. Seeing a guy like that win a championship after doing everything that was asked of him, not bitching and moaning or complaining one little bit, that right there, I will say, That right there, I will say, is very, very satisfying. It's satisfying to see people who bust their ass and work hard and don't complain and don't bitch about their spot and don't bitch about where they are in terms of on the wrestling card or where they are in terms of backstage morale, yada, yada, yada. It's very, very satisfying to see people like that succeed. It honestly reminds me of what happened with Lee Moriarty back at Death Before Dishonor earlier this year in July when Lee Moriarty beat Wheeler Yuta. That right there was a satisfying thing to see. This was satisfying in its own right. I just didn't want it to happen at the expense of Brian Cage when he barely held it for, 10 weeks? Now then, I don't know what's going to happen. Not really sure if a lot of people care because the Ring of Honor brand really isn't all that hot right now. Still very disorganized, but we will have to wait and see. Now, if they would have ended the show there, I would have been completely okay. But the last two matches, man, these last two matches, wrong fucking outcomes if I've ever fucking seen them. Before we get into the last two matches, I hope you guys are having a fun time as per usual, and I hope that everyone is doing something very, very festive this holiday season. If you want to be really festive, you should buy some DJ Storms merch. Just saying there. Cheap plug right there. Get your super chats in. Get your super stickers in. Get your super thanks in. Be sure to become a member of the channel if you have not already done so. And we are absolutely going to take things to the next level next year. That's for certain. Co-main event. Chris Jericho and Matt Cardona for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, I don't know what the motive is here. I don't know where they're going with Jericho. I'm not sure who the fuck is okaying this. Well, actually, I know who's okaying this. But holy shit, whatever the fuck is going on with Jericho, it's not fucking working. I'm sorry. It's just not fucking working. I don't really know how many times I need to talk about this, but the learning tree shit, it's just not it. It's not it. It's funny maybe once in a blue moon. This shit's been going on since April. The learning tree shit's been going on since April. And it has not been intriguing once in the long term. Maybe a couple of weeks here or there we get a funny segment or we get some sort of cool shit where, we put Samoa Joe through a wall or some shit like that. Fine. If anything, I actually hope that Samoa Joe is inevitably going to come back and beat Chris Jericho. I think if that's where they're leaning towards, all right, fine. See what happens there. But holy shit, Matt Cardona should have absolutely won this. Matt Cardona should have absolutely won this, and it is absolutely fucking ridiculous that we still have to sit here after all these months with the learning tree shit. Whether or not it's on Ring of Honor, it's making the show worse. Chris Jericho needs an extended break. If you want to talk about burnout, if there's one guy minus Jon Moxley that the people are burnt out of, it's Chris Jericho. It's just not fucking working. I don't really know what else you want me to fucking tell you. And by the way, the ending of this match, super fucking lame. Lame ass finish. Made Cardona look like a fucking bum. So immediately, right out of the gate, Cardona hit radio silence. I thought he was going to win the championship right there. Matter of fact, I would have been completely okay if Cardona won the championship in 10 seconds off of radio silence. Would have been completely okay with that. Matt Cardona with a tope con hero onto Jericho and Keith. Wrecking ball drop kick. Jericho took over. Cardona got whipped into the steps. Jericho with a Hurricane Rana. Missile drop kick by Cardona. Lion salt for a 2. Cardona with a Tiger driver. Jericho with a code breaker. Walls of Jericho. Cardona got out. Big Bill came in. A big boot to Cardona. Jericho covered. And Cardona kicked out. Cardona then with a code breaker. Jericho kicked out of that. Radio silence from the middle rope. Big Bill got involved again, and Brian Keith hit Cardona with the title. Jericho covered 1, 2, 3, and Jericho retains the Ring of Honor World Championship with a lame-ass finish. Afterwards, Big Bill and Brian Keith attacked, and all of a sudden, Bandito came on in, and Bandito saves Matt Cardona after getting 3 vignettes on Dynamite. Bandito is brought back for Ring of Honor, as if that makes any fucking sense whatsoever. Here's a spoiler, it doesn't. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Chris Jericho. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Bandito. If anything, Bandito should be on AEW TV, and you should be building up Bandito to be a challenger for one of the mid-card championships. Bandito should be a challenger for one of the mid-card championships. The fact that he's not, it is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And the fact that you're putting him on Ring of Honor against Chris Jericho, whether or not we are going to see a title change or not, whether or not we see a great match, this shit, it's getting fucking exhausting. It is honest to God getting exhausting. Jericho needs an extended break, and Jericho needs to take an extended break immediately. Have him drop the Ring of Honor World Championship to someone. I don't give a fuck who at this rate. And the fact that Cardona didn't win, and the lame-ass finish that we got, just being hit in the back of the head with the championship, how many fucking people have kicked out of that? I mean, come on. That finish has been done to absolute death. And the match wasn't even terrible. No one gave a fuck about it because no one gives a fuck about the learning tree shit. Thank God that shit didn't main event. They gave the main event to the women. Athena and Billy Starks. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh man, they're going to give Billy Starks the win here. They gave the main event to the women because Athena's finally going to lose the championship. Did that happen? No. No, that didn't. Now, the match was very good. Don't get me wrong. I actually thought this year's match was better than last year's match. Now, let's go over the match, and then we will go into why Athena is currently being wasted right now and why Tony Khan is insisting on Athena holding the championship 700 plus days and counting, by the way. Athena, Billy Starks, Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Very fast-paced and intense early on. Athena with a one-armed powerbomb. She worked on the leg of Starks. Athena then drove her own knee into the steps. Athena was sent headfirst off the steps. Powerbomb on the floor by Athena. DDT in the ring. Swinging neck breaker for a 2 on Athena. We had a brainbuster on the knee by Billy Starks. Billy Starks is very good at just 20 years old, I do have to say. We had a fallaway slam off the middle rope by Athena. Springboard crossbody for a 2. Canadian codebreaker by Athena for a 2 count. German suplex by Starks. Belly to back by Athena. Spin kick. Super kick by Athena. Starks with a tombstone. And Athena kicked out. Athena was going for a pile driver on the apron, but Billy Starks delivered an Alabama slam on the apron. Swanton bomb to the floor. In the ring, arm trapped, Styles clash. 1-2, Athena kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome." Tope suicida. Athena took out Starks and the referee. Athena then took the mic. Billie Starkz, she kicked it away. And Billie Starkz delivered the Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube crunch. It's like a forward cradle electric chair drop. It's called the Rubik's Cube. She delivered the Rubik's Cube. Referee came to. 1, 2. Athena kicked out again. Poison Rana. Starkz hit the exposed turnbuckle. Athena with the O-face. 1, 2, 3. Athena retains the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship in a very good main event. Why did Athena retain here? Now, I'm really trying to wrap my head around the fact that Athena, every single time I say that she should lose the championship, she fucking wins. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm an Athena advocate. Athena's been my number one for a long time. I have been an Athena advocate for the longest fucking time. Trust me. But the problem that I have is, where exactly is there for Athena to go after this? You're pretty much this close, if not already, for Athena hitting a wall. Why is it so hard for Athena to get on AEW TV? Why is it so hard for Athena to get on AEW TV? Why? I don't understand. Is something going on backstage? Is something going on backstage in AEW? Is there some sort of political play in the women's division? Is someone in the women's division preventing Athena from going to the AEW women's division? Are we not seeing AEW use Athena on TV because of some backstage political bullshit? Or this is what I thought about. Is Tony Khan trying to recreate what WWE did with Roman Reigns with Athena? Is that the goal here? I hope not. I don't understand why that would even be a thought in anyone's mind. Is AEW, Tony Khan, is he trying to recreate what WWE did with Roman Reigns with Athena? Is that why Athena retained at Final Battle? Are we really going to be sitting here going into 2026 with Athena holding the championship for 1,200, 1,300 days? No, thank you. We do not need another Roman Reigns style run, because if you have not grasped the concept by now, Roman Reigns' title reign, as historic as it was, it went on way longer than it needed to go. It went on way longer than it needed to go, and that company sacrificed everyone on their roster to build up Roman Reigns, so much so that they needed to bring in Cody Rhodes from AEW to finally beat Roman Reigns. And Cody almost didn't get to beat Roman. Is that really what they plan on doing? Are they really planning on just sacrificing everyone all for Athena? I'm sorry, that's bullshit. We do not need another Roman Reigns style run. That shit right there decreased the credibility of everyone on the roster to a point where Cody Rhodes, even though he's had a title reign full of great matches, don't get me wrong, he's had a title reign full of great matches, but Cody Rhodes has not had one credible opponent where it felt like, oh man, this is a great feud, and Cody Rhodes really feels like he's in jeopardy of losing the championship. Cody Rhodes has not felt like he's been in jeopardy whatsoever. Cody Rhodes has not tasted adversity since he beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. You sacrifice everyone to build up Roman, only to use one of AEW's mid-carders to beat Roman Reigns. What the fuck are you waiting for with Athena? Everything regarding this storyline with Billie Starkz, which has been realistically the only good thing about Ring of Honor, Billie Starkz and Athena, this whole entire ordeal was to make Billie Starkz a bigger star. This is exactly what would have happened if Cody lost to Roman Reigns this year at WrestleMania. What the fuck are we waiting for with Athena? And reportedly, in the media scrum, Athena said that she's going to be taking a little trip to Japan to do her thing in Japan. She's going to be doing her thing in Japan after Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. What exactly are we doing here? What is the end goal with Athena? What is the end goal with Athena? Now, granted, they could do another match because, hey, Billie Starkz, her head bounced off the exposed turnbuckle, some shit like that. But in the end, with everything that Athena has done, this was the best possible time for Athena to lose the championship. And the fact that she didn't, that right there, not only decreases the amount of challengers for Athena, not only does that make Athena on an island unto herself, no one is credible standing up next to her, and Billie Starkz is now less than. What the fuck's going to happen with Billie Starkz? You really think anyone's going to take Billie Starkz seriously now? Last year, she wasn't ready. This year, she was ready. At 20 years old, I could say she was ready. This year was the year for Billie Starkz to beat Athena. The fact that they didn't do it, that right there has knocked Billie Starkz down several pegs. How is anyone supposed to take her seriously now? Not like anyone really takes the Ring of Honor brand seriously as it is, because it's so fucking unstructured and disorganized, and it lacks all the substance in the world. But in the end, the whole story was to make Billie Starkz into a bigger star, and they failed to capitalize on it. It's like one step forward, two steps back. How the fuck do you have Lee Moriarty do his thing with Nigel McGuinness, and they put on a great fucking technical bout? You make a new star in Lee Moriarty. You make a new star in Commander. You can't make a new star in Billie Starkz. At this rate, Athena is going to be Ring of Honor Women's World Champion until her contract with Tony Khan expires. She's been with AEW for almost 3 fucking years. And she spent, I would say, 90% of those 3 years. 90% of those 3 years. 90% of those 3 years she has spent on Ring of Honor TV. Jericho's going back and forth between Ring of Honor and AEW. Mark Briscoe went back and forth between Ring of Honor and AEW. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara went back and forth between Ring of Honor and AEW. Why the fuck can't Athena? Some people are even pitching, hey, you should do Athena versus Mercedes Moné at All In next year. Yeah, it's a great fucking idea. You think Tony Khan's going to do that? Of course fucking not. Of course not. That outcome, I'm telling you, the last 2 outcomes for the last 2 matches really left a sour fucking taste in my mouth. Good show. Good show. Long, but a good show. But those outcomes to the last 2 matches, I'm telling you, those 2 outcomes to the last 2 matches, that right there is going to be the lasting image that people are going to be talking about. Not really a good thing. Not really a good thing. But the wrestling on the show really made it a very good show overall. I don't see any change really happening with the Ring of Honor brand going forward, but I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to talk about it, and I'm still going to review the shows because we do get some great matches from the Ring of Honor brand every now and then. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. That is all I got. And I'm very, very happy that I was able to return to Saturdays right here in the eye of the storm. I would like to thank each and every single one of you for stopping on by. You guys are awesome, and you guys make being DJ Storms worthwhile. Very much appreciate each and every single one of you. Please do not forget, if you haven't already done so, to like, comment, subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. And of course, get your DJ Storms merch in time for Christmas. I will be talking to you guys after Christmas is over, because I will be going live on December 26th. December 26th for the rewind, or excuse me, the rundown for AEW World's End, and then the rewind for World's End will be on December 29th. We're going to have a fun time talking pro wrestling, and we are going to end the year right. We're going to end it DJ Storm style, like only we can. Till next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. But before we get out of here, I think you already know what I am going to say next. And It is a very, very important thing that everyone must do, and that is answer a very important question. Merry Christmas to each and every single one of you. But, ladies and gentlemen, who runs the IWC? Let me take a sip of my water, and then I will tell you, because it's a rhetorical question. I will tell you who runs the IWC. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!